So let's get rolling. Randy Byrd here for Live Dial Thursday Agent Attraction. I call it the 2 Comma Club. What's 2 Comma Club stand for? $1 million of residual recurring income, right? That's the ultimate goal. And I've got a special guy on the call today, Rick Geha. We go back to 2007 together. Mute yourself if you're not muted, please. Go through and mute yourself, except Rick, please. But Rick and I go back to 2007. He was one of the first speakers that I was able to meet and become familiar with on my Keller Williams journey. He was already in master faculty. He was, the guy that was really at the top of the coaching and speaking world at that moment when I came in. So I've had an affinity and maybe even a man crush on Rick for a lot of years. We can go a year or two or longer without seeing each other. And it's an immediate, Rick will embrace me, make me feel like family, kiss me on the neck, which I like. And he's just that guy. He's got thousands of people that feel the same way about him, but he makes you feel special in that moment. He makes you feel like you're the only one in that moment. And Rick, that's a talent you have. And I've tried to emulate that over my career. I know you're not a guy for this, but let me brag on you a little bit. Rick began his career at 22 while finishing his degree at Cal State Hayward and worked in his family restaurant. By 1987, he jumped full-time and soon became the #1 agent in the local agency called Good Real Estate very quickly. Let me get a couple more people in. All right, so then by 97, he'd grown to about 50 agents, remained a top producer himself. Rick's office, Century 21, was the #2 sales office in the nation, in the world for sales volume, #2. Pretty spectacular. Rick just celebrated 40 years selling homes in San Francisco Bay Area. Can't believe that for a minute. You're on the Fremont side, right, Rick?
Yeah, now we're selling everywhere. So yeah.
Yeah. And Cindy Wadsworth's chiming in. She was a Keller Williams fixture for years. So a lot of people know and love you from your career. I can't believe you've been in it 40 years already. You look 40. He's helped over 5,000 families, individuals, businesses. His team uses a mission statement to help drive their actions and results. The Rick Geha and team improves the lives of all that they serve, period, end of quote, right? It's very powerful. He's a speaker, trainer, facilitator, making a difference not only in results attained in business, but has spoken over to 10,000 professionals this year and over 100,000 in his career. Probably more, probably 3 times that he's impacted. People commonly refer to Rick Geha as the Freedom Pathfinder, someone who's spent nearly 3 decades helping people around the world discover and walk the path of personal freedom. That really is a great way to sum you up, Rick, because the opportunities that you have found within this company to impact and touch more people is really profound. And you've gone to the top of the ranks very, very quickly in doing so. I remember the story, and I was with Brent at the time that I believe it was your birthday, and maybe 60th, and he drove up to meet with you, and then he drove up the next morning or something like that. And, you're that guy that, is really a difference maker in a complete movement. And I believe that you are at the top of that movement with what we're doing here. And this is an attraction call, so we don't hide behind the EXP piece. But thank you for being here, Rick. And thank you for contributing. We've got a great crowd, and people are excited to hear what you have to say.
Well, thank you. Wow, that was emotional to hear. Thank you, Randy, because when I met you, I was kind of at the top of my game and fell quickly from there in 2007 to 2011. But just very blessed to be where I am today, and probably between the time I met Randy, definitely. I know when I met Randy because I went up to the Reading Keller Williams office to speak, and started my personal development journey a little bit right after that, like a few months after that, and really helped kind of give me a realization of where my life was going, and that everything that was going on in my life, the destruction of my marriage, not being able to stay in any type of relationship with another human, failed relationships, failed Keller Williams offices and everything, that I was the common denominator of all of them. So while Randy boosted me up so nicely in that intro, the fact is that I have definitely, and I think everybody probably on the call has had those times. I see Gail DeMarco on here. She's somebody that I really have come to admire and respect. She talked about this book she wrote the last couple of times I've seen her speak, and I went on Amazon and it said one left, and I bought it. It's like dying to see Gail so I can get her to sign it. But everybody has gone through those things. So me elaborating on mine is just a repeat of your own individual story. We have all failed miserably. But I took the opportunity to find out why me. In other words, what was it about me that kept me being the common denominator of a lot of failure? So this personal development journey started just before my 51st birthday in the beginning of 2008, and it's still with me today. So 14 years of working on myself. I spent well over 150, closer to $200,000 on myself, coaching, getting coached, getting even therapists, everything you can imagine to allow me to see what caused those. At 53 years old, most of you have heard my story. I was 100% broke. I was renting an apartment. My 3 homes had gone to my ex in a divorce, and I was 1.4 million in debt with a credit score of 440. So fast forward, my wife just told me my credit score last week was at 790. And then because of my journey with EXP, my wife, when I started dating Casey, a lot of you do know Casey, and if you don't, you really should get to know her. But when I started dating Casey, she had just had filed bankruptcy and lost her house to short sale. So we affectionately called ourselves the broke couple. And, today we have our dream home, condominium, 5th story condo overlooking Monterey Bay and the Pacific Ocean. And we definitely thank EXP, our stock, our revenue share, for making that happen. But we literally had rented. Today we live 50% in our house that we still rent, that owned by our dad in Pleasant Hill, California, in the East Bay. And then we spend 50% of our time at our home on the coast in Pacific Grove. And I definitely thank the people that I met along the way. I see Tom Daves on here. I see a lot of people I know, Cindy Wadsworth, that those are the people that affected me in my journey along the way. Tom barely doesn't have probably any idea how I looked up and
I'll look at
it's Kathy Campos. So.
Kathy, please mute yourself. I'll find it and mute it.
Yeah.
When I get there. There it is. Got it.
So I was looking up to, while I was at KW, Tom Daves was the #1 individual agent at KW for many, many years in a row. And I kept saying, gosh, I want to emulate that. I've got to build a team like that. And so there's just all of you have contributed. Watching Randy went into coaching and became a legend himself. So everybody builds on everybody's journey, including me. The call today is about agent attraction, but I'm so glad that Randy did that intro, because I'm now at 42 and a half years selling real estate. My real estate sales team, the Rick Geha team, is bigger today than it's ever been. And I can't give EXP credit for that. I can give my hard work credit for that, for my sales team. And I can give the fact that Anthony Robbins taught me once that people that are successful in life are just professional modelers. They model themselves after people who have come before them. And by the way, that's going to be the exact same thing in agent attraction, that if I'm not modeling myself, my sponsor is Brent Gove. I had him in my ear all the time, and we were calling on a lot of the same people. We both knew a lot of people in the Keller Williams system, so we were both calling on a lot of people. And if I said the letter F, would you know what word I was referring to? It's a word that I won't necessarily say on the call today. Would you all know that? Raise your hand if you know what word I'd be referring to. Okay, good. So I went to an EXP event about 4 years ago, a year into it. I've been with the company almost 6 years now. So about a year and a half into it, I was at an event and I saw Don Hobbs. And as I walked up to Don Hobbs, he said, "Oh, F." And he had said the word. Can I say it here? Can I trust?
You could say it
Yeah.
here.
He just looked at me coming up to him to give him a hug, and he goes, "Oh, fuck." And I said, "What's wrong?" And as I hugged him, I hadn't seen him in a long time, and he was a good friend of mine. He goes, "That's the words I use when I see somebody I should have called already at EXP." And we joke around about that now, not just him and I, but my wife was with me, and it was the first time I introduced my wife to him and Allison Gaddy. And so we now joke around about that. He said, "How many OFs have you had on this trip?" Like every time we go to an EXP event, you go, "How many OFs did you see?" And those are constant reminders that we're not doing what we're capable of doing. We're not speaking to enough people. And it's this journey has been the most amazing journey in my life. At 53 years old, I knew that I was going to have to sell houses every day for the rest of my life, and I would probably die at an open house. Okay, here I am at 65 years old, and I can retire anytime now. I did the hard work, but EXP gave me the platform so that my hard work would yield me more than I could have ever yielded at any other company. And you all know that, but the difference is, how do you express it, right? I heard the term the other day, are you EXPing all over people? Mm-hmm. Right? And you've heard the term vomiting all over people, but all I'm doing, obviously, maybe most of you may not know this story, but I'm sitting here on this same table at that end, making a call to someone that my wife knew from the personal development world, who owned a small 1 or 2 person brokerage in San Diego. And I was calling her to talk to her about EXP. And my wife was sitting right next to me here, not making calls. She was typing on her computer because she has a very successful network marketing business with a company called Nu Skin. And I'd been with EXP now. I was on my 3rd year with EXP, and about to celebrate my 3-year anniversary with the company. And she'd been watching us grow and things like that, but she was building her company, but she'd been in the network marketing business for quite a while. And her business was starting to get where it was going to pay her whether she got out of bed every day or not, right? Mm-hmm. And it was doing pretty darn well. But I got done with that call and I hung up, and she literally looks up from her computer and goes, "What the hell was that?" Like that. Now, you don't always want to be coached by your wife or your significant other. Sometimes it doesn't come across the way you most would want it to. And we got in an argument. And she said, "That was not a recruiting call. That was a visit." She goes, you didn't even ask her what her dreams were, what her exit plan was. You didn't do this, you didn't do that. And so to fast forward, it was probably mid 2019 when that happened. And she asked me to hire her partner as a coach immediately, to start coaching me on things that I thought I knew. I'd been coaching brokerages and agents on recruiting for years. At one point, I was named the #1 recruiter in 1998, the #1 recruiter for the Century 21 system worldwide. Right? I only started recruiting in 1993. My boss at that time was a guy named Gino Blafari, who today is the CEO of all of Berkshire Hathaway. That was my boss, my direct. So I had experience with recruiting, but what I didn't have experience with was telling my story. And Casey is brilliant at that. If you haven't watched the original Tahoe Mastermind video from November of 2020, it's on the Brent Gove YouTube channel. Watch her. She'll talk to you about that. But here's the thing. I coached with Jennifer, and Jennifer gave me some enlightenment about how I was showing up on calls. And that really, truly, I'm a high IS. If you don't know the disc, learn it. I don't like conflict, confrontation. So what was I doing? I was trying to value myself into people's world. Mm-hmm. How you doing? How's things? Is there anything I can help you with? But I was never getting, it's okay because we want to bring value to people, but at some point you got to have the conversation. You can't just keep valuing them forever. And then you see them at an event and you go, oh my God, I valued the heck out of them. And they found so much value. They went and joined EXP with someone else. Mm-hmm. Now I see Alita Franco smiling, which means she's had an OF moment, right?
I have them
Everybody,
in my phone, Rick. I have
do you have OF moment?
right in front of their name, so I know what it means.
Yeah. So then Jennifer switched because Casey's business got to where she was working 2 to 5 hours a week, and she said, "I'm coming with you. I'm going to work this with you." She started looking at my back room, showing me how FLAs could become FLQAs, and I would sit here at the end of the dining room table looking at this sliding glass door that's to my right, and she would put big flip chart sheets with everybody that I had sponsored on my first level. And if they were green, they were an FLQA. And if they were blue, they were an FLA. And we had to get them to FLA. So I'm managing my sales team and I got leads coming in. She goes, so some of the leads would go to the sales team and some would go to my FLAs. Like everything became a system. Everything. And I got to tell you, it was life-changing. Casey stepping into my business was life-changing. Now, I want to take a couple of minutes here and find out what you'd like to hear from me, but I can tell you this, that once we were partnered, and it doesn't have to be your significant other, but find somebody, if you hire somebody or somebody that can look at the back room for you so that you can keep doing what you're really good at. And I'm really good at talking to people. So if I don't spend the day talking to people right now, even though my team is going to do close to 100 million this year, I'm spending 60 to 70% of my day either talking to recruits or on 3-way calls with my organization. And soon that's going to be 80 to 90% because I'm adding more people on my sales team to leverage me more. Right? So, and people say, well, Rick, when you're at the number you're at of your monthly revenue share, what the hell are you still doing selling houses? Believe me, when you have been as broke as I have, you're not going to dictate to me what I do and don't do. I'm too strong-minded for that. I'm going to say, if you were as broke as I was, where I had to tell the guy that managed the apartment complex that I can't pay you the rent yet because I need a closing to happen and it's going to happen a few days after the rent's late. Like, if you never want that to happen, then you continue to be responsible for you. And that's what I'm doing. I'm not ever that sales team. It makes too much damn money. And this is what I decided, that if it gets to where the money that I profit from my sales team is nothing that I need, good, then I'll donate it to a good charity or to my 2 sons. Right? So what I want you to think about is, this is the time that you put you first. You want to learn a lesson from me, I'm going to lesson that to you all day long, is that you got to put you first. You don't like how you look in the mirror, then change the way you eat and exercise. All right. You got to get where when you look in the mirror, you are fucking pumped at what you're looking at. All right. I'm 5 pounds heavier than I should be right now, than I like to be, but I'm 30 pounds lighter than I was the majority of my life right this minute. So I can understand that I could easily get rid of those 4.5, 5 pounds, and I can celebrate myself for where I was when Randy knew me. I used to run 195 to 205 in the two. Now I run 170 to 175 all the time, all the time. Okay. Do you know how many women I hear say they hate their thighs? Come on, I'm sick of it. I love my thighs. So I love Casey's thighs more, but I love my thighs. So, but what I want you,
Rick.
Yeah. But what I want you to think about is this: get your shit in order, excuse my language, so that when you sit down to focus on attraction, there's nothing taking you away from it. Nothing. If you haven't talked to your mom in a while and that's bugging you, call your mom. Get that stuff out of the way. I don't know what it is, but you all got something. We all got something. I know what mine is today. I know what my distraction from today is, and I know that I got it out of the way before 8:25 a.m. so that I could be all me and all here. Now, Randy, I don't even know if this was the direction you wanted me to go in, but
100%.
it all started because you did that introduction, and I got all emotional listening to that introduction. And I was thinking, gosh, for somebody that I respect and admire as much as the Byrd man to introduce me like that and tell me that he admired me, like, that's life-changing for me, because we never see how valuable you are and what we're contributing to other people's lives until somebody smacks you across the face with it and said, you changed my life. Right? I went to a bocce ball tournament just so I could start networking with people at the board. And they were putting this bocce ball tournament on. And I got there and there was a guy I knew. He'd been in the business about 25 years. Tom, no, see, I shook his hand and the bocce ball tournament got delayed. They didn't start it. So they said, why don't you guys all go over there and maybe get yourself a drink or a soda or something. So we went all over there and I was introducing Tom to this was what, 2017. And I had just been with EXP a short amount of time. And I had a couple of my team members there because my team members were much small there. And I said, guys, this is Tom. And I said, I've known him since he was brand new in the business, cool guy. I said, Tom, this is Cindy. And he went about telling them a story that he had stopped me in the hallway once at an office event and that he had asked me for some advice. I didn't remember the story. And he said that the advice I gave him that day is still with him today. And it's the reason he's been so successful in real estate. Like nothing can change your day like that. So why am I saying this? Keep bringing value, bringing love and kindness and compassion to everybody you meet, no matter what, no matter how effed up your day was. You keep doing that, you're going to change lives. But at some point, you got to put you first. And how do you put you first? Start asking for what you want. Okay. So Casey overheard me the other day on a coaching call and she goes, who's that? I said, it's a lady I've been coaching. She goes, not one of your paid coaching clients. I said, no, I don't have, I only have 2 of those left. And she goes, why are you coaching her? I said, because she's going to come to EXP. She goes, well, I didn't hear anything about EXP in that call. I said, oh yeah, because I had my headset on. I said, she's right on the border of deciding. I said, but I've been coaching her maybe once every month or 2 for about the last year. She calls me, Rick, I need to talk to you. And yeah, I could probably be a little bit more direct, but I know she's coming. And when she does, she's naming me, right? So you got to decide, is it working for you or is it not? I love that I have this amazing check-in called my wife, who's listening to everything I'm doing all of the time and pushing me. And I'll tell you, you got to have that person that pushes you, especially if you're an IS. If you're a D, maybe not. Maybe you need that person to soften your ass up a little bit. But if you're me, you need that push, that drive. And I know when I say my prayers at night, because Casey left yesterday to go to our dream home, and I'm leaving tonight. So I had a night without her where when I go to bed, I say my prayers, and I thanked God for putting her in my life, because she's the one who, she had filed bankruptcy. So she had to figure out a way to get out of debt and start over again while I was doing it. Right. So, my agreement with my ex-wife was $12,000 a month for life. That was my agreement on alimony with my ex-wife. If it wasn't for Casey pushing me, I would have never gone to see an attorney, never sued my ex-wife to get that changed.
Right.
Guys, find that running mate. Find somebody that'll push you in the areas that you need pushing. Who is it? Is it your husband, your father, your brother, your mother? Is it a friend? Is it Randy? Is it Tom? Is it Gail DeMarco? Sometimes the person doesn't know they're doing it for you. Did you know that? Like, I look up at so many great people in this company and they don't even know they're pushing me. So you got to think about this. This is the time. Get your crap in order. But here's how you do it. You don't say, today's the day I get my crap in order. I don't do agent attraction. No, I've got hours cut out. Here's where I get my crap in order. Here's where I do agent recruiting. And since I have a Calendly link out there that 3,000, 4,000 people have access to, I only have about 3,000 in my organization, but way deeper than that, than what I get paid on, are people looking at my Calendly link and clicking on it for a 30-minute slot for me to do a 3-day validation call. Well, then I got to be on top of my calendar so there's time for Rick to do his recruiting and keep those slots marked off in my calendar. Because if it's open, that means it's open so that somebody can grab a calendar link. So start respecting your time. Find the time. If you're like me, you both sell and recruit. Where am I going to lead generate for listings? Where am I going to recruit? Where am I going to do my 3 ways for my organization? Start that now. Okay. Get your stuff in order. And if there's things like if getting your stuff in order means working out, then find a time to do it where it doesn't interrupt with the other things you're going to do. Your calendar should be your driving force, guys, all of you. Oh my God, I see Simone on here. I just love Simone.
We love Simone.
Okay.
Not in our organization, but we're locked arms every single day and in multiple ways.
So
Rick,
I'm going to stop right there.
No, Randy? I mean, I can go all day with you. I could tell already. And I just really value you being here. It's interesting. When I was reading your bio, to be transparent, my assistant prepared the bio and I brought it in. I'm like, this, I love her. She's amazing. She's watching me. But I was like, this is not Rick's bio. This is like so generic. It was like, I'm great at this. I did this. I've been in business this long. I'm like, this is not Rick. So she dug and found the stuff that I was able to emotionalize. And then it brought back the emotion of our existence and how we met and what you meant to me over the years. And I'm going to try to get through this. I was very emotional when I was listening to you and reading it. I didn't know why. And today is the anniversary of my brother's suicide, 9/29.
Wow.
And I had to write the date to understand what that meant. And it doesn't always make me emotional, but what it does do for me is that was my rock bottom, right? That was my only brother, my younger brother. That was my rock bottom. And when you talked about that, I immediately went to that place. And then I went to gratitude of who I've become and why I do what I do. You know, a lot of people ask why and how I got started in coaching, and thank you for your kind words. I love impacting people. But the reason I got into coaching 8 years ago was upon my brother's death. I knew that I had to take control of my emotions, and I could do that the best by serving others. And then that made me level up, you know. So when I was at Tom Ferry and I had 38 clients, I had to level up on every one of those calls and almost remove myself from the real struggles, the stuff that was going on. And, you know, you have literally been a big part of that journey and who I emulate and want to emulate. You, Brent Gove. I mean, there's just so many others that I would say. Casey, now I've been blessed to meet Casey and get to know her. But, you know, at the end of the day, Rick, I think I speak for both of us. This is why we do what we do, you know?
Absolutely.
It's on the back of my business card, helping people get what they want, you get what you want. And that is a foundational, like a core belief of mine, but it goes beyond that. When we get in here and we get to, you know, really change lives and we get to impact lives and we get to have the personal development journey, the events Brent puts on I feel like they're all for me alone. And then I just get to bring a lot of friends to them, right? It feels like everyone from Tony Robbins to you name it, as just another step in that personal development journey to help me be the best human I can be. And as we progress, I think a lot of agents look at this and they're just like, well, this is hard. And this is, you know, I'm not a recruiter. And there's just so many victim stories and things that can come up. And at the end of the day, it's really about you and your impact to you personally, your impact to your family. And you said so many great things. I mean, I love your OF story. That's absolute true. When I've got a handful of OFs, you might have been an OF. You know, Don Yoakum, I'm blessed that I was able to get the courage to call Don and then pursue a meeting with him. And then we partnered up and that's really been a changing, you know, a point in my EXP journey that really set the stage for the future. And him and Don, or him and Tom Daves are partners of mine. And I look at it just like that. I looked at like we forged this together, even though there's other components of my organization that we have to pay attention to. It's the friendships and those things along the way. So just a couple things, and then I'll maybe, I appreciate your time. I want to maybe have them ask a couple questions if they want, but I value your time. And then I'm going to get to live dials after that, which I'm excited to do. I am. But, you know, don't value yourself into someone else's world. If you're actually trying to have a business conversation with them, just lead with that. It's okay to give value and to I talk about pouring equity into people before you ask for withdrawal. So deposit equity before that withdraw, because if you withdraw first, that's all about you. It could be viewed as selfish, but you're allowed to make a business call and ask a question. But if you're really going into it to have an idea of agent attraction, lead with that. Hey, I'm looking for great partners. I don't know you yet, but I'd love to get to know you. See if we can, do some things that add value to each other, collaborate, referrals, partnerships, whatever that may be. And I think you said that very, very well. Your Rick Geha team's bigger than ever. I think there's a lot of value in that, especially in our model with FLQA management and team management and income and icon awards, all that. It's amazing. I love this, Rick. You said you did the hard work. EXP didn't. EXP was the platform, right? EXP was the cruise liner that you decided to get on. There's a lot of cruise liners to choose from, but that was the vehicle that you decided to get on, and then you've worked within that. I love that analogy. And putting yourself first was impactful for me. As a coach, I get a lot of people that are, there's differences between call reluctance and not understanding scripts and objections and being uncomfortable with live videos and things like that. And then having a core disbelief in yourself, right? Having a core belief that is a disbelief. It's like, it's easy to do that. Either it be what you think you look like, or the way you act, or the way you show up, and just don't antagonize that, right? If you have trouble with food, don't antagonize it by going to fast food, and don't antagonize it by doing other things. So Rick, any parting words, or I'm going to look for any questions. I just value you so much for being here, especially on this particular special day for me.
Yeah.
I swear I didn't know that until we started talking, and you make me cry anyway. I'm a crier. I'm an emotional guy. I know Brent as well. You are. I have no bones to pick about that. I'm cool with that. But it was something special today. I knew I didn't know what, and I'm really I'm honored that you're here today.
Oh, dude, I was so honored to ask. And your poor Nikita, she
Recording
didn't
in
realize
progress.
I didn't realize
I know.
she had asked me so long ago, and I'm like, oh crap, I never saw
No,
that
it's-
message. So I was, as soon as I'm like, Thursday, yeah, I'll do it this Thursday. It's but yeah,
Well, we
I would
appreciate that. She's a
I would-
rock star.
I would only say that, the kind of people that get on these calls are the kind of people who want to change the world, and they want to change the world one human life at a time.
Yeah.
But we get so caught up in that. And even biblically, everything's about helping others. And I know that through my personal development work, I realize that I can help hundreds while I decay. But if I'm taking care of me and making sure I'm getting what I need and what I want, then I can help thousands on a daily basis instead of just hundreds. And then I can change the world so much quicker if
Amen.
I am happy with what I see every day when I wake up and look in the mirror. So please don't look at it as selfish, look at it as selflessness, that you have created the kind of human that you love so much that you want to go out and touch hundreds of thousands of lives. And that's what it's going to do, one life at a time, one life at a time.
I love that, Rick. It's been amazing having you. I have one or two quick questions, then we're going to value your time, and we're going to get into live dials. What's the 3-day validation call? I got a question.
The 3-way validation.
Yeah, you talk.
call.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You said 3-day or 3-way validation, but the question was 3 days, so that makes sense. The 3-way validation call.
Yeah, 3-way validation
Todd
call.
Tahoe.
Yeah, so 3-way validation call is what you all do. You get a person.
Yeah.
Randy, it's me, John. I need you to talk to this new prospect, Mary. That's a 3-way validation call. But the trouble is, and it happened to me yesterday, and I want to strangle the guy, like the guy on in my organization, because he mishandled the call.
I know where you're going.
Mishandle the call. Please, guys, you got to know how to make that call right. The call went 48 minutes. It was supposed to go 30. Whose problem was that? The guy who brought me on the line. Luckily, I didn't have a 30-minute call right behind it.
Right.
You've got to respect your prospect more than you even respect the person in your organization that's doing the 3-way call for you.
Totally.
So it's vital.
It's a first experience.
Yeah. Somebody it was Simone, just put the link in there. Is that the link?
Awesome. Thank you, Simone.
Simone, is that the link for the 3-way call? 3-way.
I think that's the 3-way training in Tahoe. Yeah.
Okay. Because clearing the time, right? Though that one clearing the time. Now I set us aside for 30 minutes, John. Is that all right with you?
Right.
Yes.
Expectation.
Or is it still all right with you? But he didn't do that. So our call wandered on for, 48 minutes instead of 30. That's fine. It was okay because I didn't have one on the half hour. But if I had, that would have been all effed up. So you got to know that that's an art. And nobody describes that art better than Casey does, really. A lot of people say, oh, you keep talking about your wife. I go, no, I'm talking about Casey Council. She was, long before she was my wife, she was literally world renowned in the network marketing industry for her ability to talk about recruiting and three-way validation. She's been asked to speak in Budapest, Australia, Spain, Sweden. She's spoken everywhere, being asked. Like, they don't pay people in that organization, but they do pay for your flight and your hotel. So she's been all over the world talking about these same things to literally hundreds of thousands of people. This is her area. Please listen to what she says in that call, because it's brilliant. People say, oh, I heard you and Casey. I go, well, you actually heard Casey for 45 minutes. I was just the 15-minute wrap up.
That's right.
Yeah. So anyway.
That's a great statement. And I studied Casey's stuff, and three-way was a big thing in my network marketing company, Isogenics, same thing. Yeah. And that was the critical component of growth, So Rick, I want to value your time. You've delivered a lot of impactful information today. We love you. Obviously, you're a special guy to me and a special guy to a lot of people. And somehow you make everybody feel like they're the only one on the planet. That is a gift. And I love you for it, brother.
But that means so much to me. Thank you, buddy. Thanks to all of you guys. Good to see you all. And I'm around if I can ever be of help to any of you.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate you. We're going to get to the good stuff now, the live dials.
All right. Talk to you guys later.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate your help. Have a great day, my friend. All right. I'm going to stop the recording for a minute.